Hello, my dear friends. This is the story of Alicia, a daughter who thought she knew her father well until life slowed her down enough to really walk. Beside him, her dad's doctor warned him he needed daily walks, just 10 minutes a day. Alicia agreed to join, thinking it was a small sacrifice. The first steps felt slow, awkward, and unnecessary, but as the days stretched into weeks, something unexpected began to happen. The sidewalks became their meeting place. The silences turned into conversations. The short strolls turned into long talks, and in those steady footsteps, Alicia found not only her father's health improving, but their bond healing. One walk at a time, Alicia sat in the waiting room chair, scrolling on her phone, half listening as her father's doctor explained his checkup results. She'd heard this kind of thing before: blood pressure, cholesterol, the usual concerns. Her dad was in his late 60s now, a retired math teacher who still tried to live like he was 40, but this time the doctor was firmer. "Mr. Herrera," he said, looking directly at Alicia's father, "your heart is telling us it needs some attention. Nothing drastic yet, but you need more movement in your daily life. Sitting all day isn't doing you any favors." Her father, graying at the temples but still stubborn as ever, waved it off. "I walk plenty, to the fridge, to the mailbox." The doctor chuckled politely, but Alicia frowned. "Not enough." The doctor said gently, "I'm prescribing something simple: 10 minutes of walking every single day. Think of it as medicine, only it doesn't come in a bottle." Her dad groaned. 10 minutes? That's nothing. Waste of time. But Alicia caught the look in the doctor's eyes, firm, serious. She spoke before she could stop herself. "I'll do it with you, Dad. 10 minutes every day." Her father looked at her, surprised. "You? You're busy. You won't stick with it." Alicia shrugged. "Then I guess you'll have to prove me wrong." That night, she lay in bed replaying her words. She hadn't planned to volunteer. She barely had time for herself between work, errands, and keeping her own apartment in order. But there was something about the doctor's tone, something about the thought of her dad sitting alone, that made her commit before she could second-guess it. 10 minutes. That's all. She told herself, "I can handle 10 minutes." The next evening, Alicia pulled into her father's driveway just as the sun was setting. She had changed into sneakers, though part of her felt silly. 10 minutes wasn't exactly a workout. Her dad came out slowly, wearing his old windbreaker and a baseball cap that had faded from years of sun. "You ready, coach?" Alicia teased, trying to lighten the mood. He smirked. "This feels ridiculous. People walk all the time. Why do I need a prescription for it?" "Because apparently you only walk to the fridge," Alicia shot back. He grumbled, but a smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. They started down the block at an easy pace. Alicia noticed how quiet it was between them. Normally, they only saw each other at family dinners or rushed weekend visits. 10 minutes felt strangely long when you had nothing planned to say. Her father finally broke the silence. "So, how's work?" She sighed. "Busy, like always. Too many emails, not enough hours." He nodded. "When I was teaching, the kids thought I had summers off. They didn't realize I spent half of it grading or planning lessons. People don't always see the work behind the scenes." Alicia smiled faintly. It wasn't deep conversation, but it felt normal, easy. By the time they circled back to the house, her dad looked slightly winded, but not exhausted. "That's it?" he asked. 10 minutes? "That's it," Alicia confirmed. He shrugged. could have been worse. As she drove home, Alicia found herself surprised. It hadn't been magical. They hadn't solved the world's problems. But there was something about those quiet steps side by side that felt grounding. Maybe this won't be so bad after all, she thought. The second walk was easier. The third one felt almost natural by the end of the first week. Alicia realized something strange. She was actually looking forward to it, not because of the exercise. 10 minutes wasn't going to transform her fitness, but the rhythm of it, the act of leaving her buzzing phone in her bag, the cool air against her face, the quiet shuffle of her dad's steps beside her had started to feel like a break. She didn't know she needed. Her dad noticed it. "Too, you're walking too fast," he said one evening, puffing slightly. "You're not training for a marathon, you know." Alicia slowed down and laughed. "Sorry, I'm used to rushing everywhere. Even when I'm not in a hurry, I walk like I'm late for something." "Well, here's your training then," he said with a grin. "Training to slow down." She rolled her eyes, but she liked the way he said it. Training to slow down. They began noticing things in the neighborhood they'd never paid attention to before. A house with a perfectly trimmed rose garden. A crooked mailbox that always leaned a little farther each week. The smell of someone grilling chicken 2 streets over. Her dad made a game of it. Observation test. He declared one evening, "How many cats did we pass today?" 2. Alicia answered without hesitation. "Wrong 3. You missed the orange one hiding by the bushes." She laughed. "What is this, Dad? Some kind of teacher trick?" "Always," he said proudly. "Life is one big quiz by the end of 2 weeks." The walks stretched beyond 10 minutes. They never timed it. They just went until one of them said, "Okay, that's enough." Sometimes it was 15 minutes, sometimes 25. Once, nearly 40, and slowly, Alicia noticed her dad's face looking less tired, his steps a little steadier. He still grumbled about the doctor, but he didn't complain about the walking anymore. One night, as they headed back up the driveway, he said something that caught her off guard. "You know, I kind of like this." Alicia smiled softly. "Yeah, me too." It happened on a Thursday evening. 2.5 weeks into their new routine, the sun had dipped low, turning the sky a soft lavender, and the air smelled faintly of cut grass at first. They walked in their usual rhythm, quiet, steady, commenting on the crooked mailbox or the neighbor's dog barking at everything that moved. But then, without meaning to, Alicia blurted out something she hadn't shared in a long time. "I think I'm burning out at work." Her dad glanced at her, surprised. "Burning out? You, Miss Go-Go-Go?" She chuckled lightly, but her chest felt tight. "I don't know, some days I wake up and I'm already tired. I stare at the screen all day, and by the time I get home, I don't even know what I've done with myself." Her dad was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You sound like me my last few years teaching." Alicia tilted her head. "Really? You love teaching?" "I did," he admitted, "but it wore me down. Too, the grading, the paperwork, the pressure to keep everyone happy. Some days I wondered if I was even making a difference." They walked in silence for a while, their footsteps crunching softly on the gravel. "You know what helped me?" he finally said. "What?" Talking about it and remembering the little wins. A student who smiled because they finally understood something. A parent who said thank you. Those things kept me going. Alicia breathed slowly. She had never thought about her dad feeling the same exhaustion she did. Then he chuckled. Of course. I also had coffee gallons of it. She laughed out loud, the tension breaking. Okay, fair coffee helps. The next evening, it was her dad who opened up, you know. He said, as they turned the corner by the park. I've been scared. Alicia frowned. Scared? Of what? He hesitated. Of slowing down, of getting old. I guess. Alicia's heart ached. She had never heard him say something like that. Her dad was always strong, steady, the one who fixed leaky faucets and carried the heavy groceries. Hearing him admit. Fear made her see him differently. You're not old, she said quickly. You're just wise. He laughed, shaking his head. That's what people say when they don't want to say the other word. She bumped his shoulder gently. Maybe. But still you're here. You're walking, that's something. He nodded. His eyes soft. Yeah, that's something. From then on, the walks became more than exercise. They became conversations. Some were deep, about life and regrets and dreams. Others were silly, about the weird names of neighborhood dogs or how people left Christmas lights up until marching little by little. The distance between them, the years of small misunderstandings, unspoken words, and busy schedules began to shrink. They weren't just walking, they were finding each other again. It was a Saturday morning in late spring when the moment came. Alicia had stayed over at her parents' house the night before. Something she hadn't done in years. Her dad woke her early, tapping lightly on her door. Come on, he said. The air's perfect. Let's walk before the neighborhood wakes up. Still half asleep, Alicia pulled on a hoodie and sneakers. The streets were quiet, the sky pale gold. They walked slower than usual, neither in a rush. The only sounds were birdsong and the gentle scuff of their shoes after a long silence. Her dad said, Do you remember when you were 10 and we used to walk to the library on Saturdays? Alicia smiled. Of course, I always checked out way too many books. He chuckled. You carried them all the way back. Even when the bag was bigger than you, I was so proud of that. She laughed, touched by the memory, but then his voice grew softer. Somewhere along the way, we stopped doing things like that. I guess life got busy, work, school, everything else, and I didn't realize how much I missed it until now. Alicia's throat tightened. She thought about the years when she'd been distant, caught up in college, then jobs, then her own social world. She hadn't meant to drift away, but she had. She looked at her dad, his shoulders a little stooped, his hair grayer than she remembered, and suddenly she felt tears prick her eyes. I missed it too, she whispered. They walked a few more steps, the silence heavy with unspoken words. Then her dad reached over and gently squeezed her hand. You're here now, that's what matters. Alicia squeezed back, her chest aching in a good way. For the first time in years, she felt like she wasn't just walking with her dad, she was walking toward him. By the end of the month, their 10-minute walks had stretched into 30. Some evenings they went even longer, circling the neighborhood twice. Neighbors started to notice. Out for your daily stroll again? Mrs. Wilson, the woman with the big sun hat, called from her porch one evening. Rain or shine, Alicia's dad replied, lifting his hand in a cheerful wave. Alicia laughed. We're becoming a neighborhood landmark. Her dad grinned. Better than being a neighborhood mystery. The walks became a ritual, almost sacred. Alicia found herself looking forward to them, even on the hardest days. No matter what happened at work, tight deadlines, endless emails, or late meetings, she knew the walk would reset her. It was like pressing a refresh button. On her mind, her dad, too, seemed lighter. His steps grew steadier. His laughter came quicker. The deep frown lines on his forehead softened one evening. As they passed the park, he joked, "Careful, Alicia, pretty soon I'll be outpacing you." She rolled her eyes. Dream on. But secretly, she was glad to see him stronger, more energetic, glad that something so simple, just walking, could change so much. And the conversations? They bloomed some nights. They shared stories from years ago, family vacations, old friends, silly moments that had been buried under time. Other nights, they dreamed out loud about the future. Her dad confessed he wanted to travel again, maybe. See the Grand Canyon. Alicia admitted she thought about writing a book someday, even if she didn't know what it would be about yet. Sometimes they didn't talk much at all. They just walked in comfortable silence, side by side. One evening, halfway through their route, Alicia realized something. "This has become my favorite part of the day," she said softly. Her dad looked at her, surprised. Then his eyes warmed. "Mine too." And in that moment, Alicia knew their walks weren't just about health anymore. They were about healing. One Wednesday evening, the sky turned heavy and gray. Thunder rolled in the distance as Alicia pulled into her dad's driveway. She almost hoped he'd cancel after all. Who wanted to walk in a storm? But when she stepped inside, her dad was already waiting by the door, umbrella in hand. "You're serious?" she asked. He smirked. "Rain never hurt anybody. Come on, it'll be an adventure." So they went. The drizzle quickly turned to steady rain, dampening their jackets and soaking their sneakers at first. Alicia muttered complaints under her breath, but soon she found herself laughing. Her dad splashed in a puddle, just like a little kid. Bet you didn't see that coming." She shook her head, water dripping from her hair. "You're impossible." But as they walked, the rain felt strangely freeing. The world was quieter, the streets empty. It was just the two of them, sharing an ordinary yet unforgettable moment. By the time they got back, they were drenched but smiling. That, her dad said, was the best walk yet. And Alicia had to agree. The weeks turned into months. Their short strolls became part of their lives in a way neither of them had expected. Her dad's doctor was thrilled with his progress. Lower blood pressure, better stamina, brighter mood. Alicia, too, noticed how she felt calmer, less stressed. But the real gift wasn't just health. It was the closeness they'd rebuilt one evening. As the sun set behind them, her dad said quietly, "These walks, they gave me back my daughter." Alicia swallowed hard. "And they gave me back my dad." They didn't need to say more on a warm summer evening. Alicia and her dad walked their familiar loop. The neighborhood glowed in golden light. Kids played in yards, free, and the smell of barbecue drifted from someone's porch. Her dad pointed to the horizon. "Look at that sky. Worth walking for, isn't it?" Alicia nodded, smiling. "Every step has been worth it." They walked on, not counting the minutes, not worrying about the distance, just two people, side by side, grateful for the simple act of moving forward together. And though neither said it out loud, they both knew this wasn't just a routine anymore. It was a bond, renewed one step at a time. Life's greatest changes don't always come from grand gestures. Sometimes they begin with something as small as a 10-minute walk. Every step Alicia and her dad took wasn't just about health. It was about connection, about showing up, about choosing presence over distance. And maybe that's the lesson for us all. One small step shared with someone we love, can lead to miles of healing. So, take the walk, start the conversation. Don't wait for the right time, because sometimes the simplest steps carry us the farthest.